Turn your right toes in. We're deliberately going to activate the internal rotators of the hips. So lift your heels slightly and move them outward to create internal rotation at the hip joints, at both hip joints. Then carry forward with isometric internal rotation. So push the backs of the heels out while turning the fronts of the legs in, and then bow forward. The more you internally rotate, the deeper you'll get in the pose. So the alignment is internal rotation, which causes anterior tilt. So just like the last class, the alignment will be anterior tilt and internal rotation. But you can, just like last class, you create an isometric tuck of the tailbone to activate the external rotators of the hip. Naturally, you'll feel a little more space occurs as a result because you're no longer at your end range of internal rotation because the external rotators kick in. So you can just remember that when both feet are on the ground, posterior tilt is going to create external rotations. The external rotators will turn on to create that posterior tilt. Turn the leg in like this, and then turn the leg out. I'm going to pivot on the heel. Okay, so in, out. When you go out, you'll notice you can go further down. When you go in, your hips will have to lift up and back slightly, out. And I'm trying to think, yeah, my foot is moving, but I'm thinking from the thigh rolling, not so much the shin at the knee joint. The shin at the knee joint is trying to follow the thigh bone movement, okay? So here, internal, external. You don't want to go to any point of grinding or pain or it feels like you're kind of getting raw in your hip joint. So you got to move a little to allow that to occur without, you want to feel there's space at the actual hip joint when you're moving. Now let's go back to internal rotation and see if you can get your right, so see how internally rotated I am? My toes are even turning in. And try to get my right elbow to the inside. So now my shoulder is by my right knee. So my right butt is out to the right deliberately right now. I'm purposefully trying to internally rotate my right leg. My right shoulder down as low as I can go. Still thinking I'm not isometrically adding anything. I'm just keeping the alignment. The alignment is hard enough in this to keep the internal rotation. So I'm really pushing down more to the big toe and the inner heel and spiraling my right thigh in towards my shoulder. Now let's flex the foot. All right, come on out. Here's the shape we know as, it's called compass pose. And compass pose, most people try to go into it like this. They grab the foot and then they straighten the leg and there's something like this trying to weasel their way underneath, which is a way to get in, definitely. What I like to do is start with more internal rotation. I move the pelvis more into anterior tilt and I lift my right buttocks up to the sky like this. Then I can sneak my right arm underneath and I should be able to create a little like shelf underneath this right leg. So, you know, even if you don't do anything I just did, you just try to get this leg up and over here, okay? Then to go the next step, we are going to try to think about internally rotating the leg. You see, let's do that a few times. Just keep the leg as high up on the arm as possible. Turn in the right leg. You see how I'm leaning into my left knee, left forearm. Turn in and try to straighten. Then you do that with your hand on the foot. You lift your right buttocks up, turn in, you try to straighten. When you do this, you really want to resist with the top arm. See, my left elbow is really bent and the top of my arm bone is back. The head of the arm bone is back into that posterior tilted position. So I'm not letting the foot pull me out of the socket. I'm pulling back on the foot.